you have an interest in horses and love learning more about horses, the horse industry, teaching, or even managing your own horse business, then you're in the right place. We would love you to join us on our mission, which is to improve the lives of horses around the world through the education of riders, handlers, and trainers. So get comfortable, listen in, and enjoy.
This is another of our popular Listener's Choice interviews, which we're playing over the weekend. We've chosen the most popular interviews for you to select the Listener's Choice winner. If you're not sure how the Listener's Choice competition works, have a look at horsechats.com/choice for the rules and the leaderboard. Today's chat's been brought to you by International Horse College. International Horse College's motto is people safety and horse welfare, and you'll find this message throughout our chats. Registered Training Organisation number 31352. Today's guest is Margaret Heaney. Margaret, although she's a coach and a rider, we're going to talk to her more today about her being a club president for her riding club. How are you, Margaret?
I'm fine, thank you.
It's good, Margaret. I'm interested in talking to you today because being a club president is a role that, quite a few people have or could be thinking of having. And I'm interested to know a little bit more about how you run the riding club and what you do within your role as a club president. It changes quite a bit, I think, from club to club. So I'm interested in talking to you today. But before we get started, Margaret, do you have a favourite quote?
Well, I have a quote from a guy called Klaus Ferdinand Hempfling. I don't know whether you've heard of him.
Okay, yes.
His quote says, closeness to a horse never comes from the desire for closeness. Closeness to a horse comes only from closeness to one's inner self.
It's a bit to think about, isn't it? Would you like to just say that again?
Sure. He says, closeness to a horse never comes from the desire for closeness. Closeness to a horse comes only from closeness to one's inner self.
Yeah, I certainly think it's worth thinking about that one. I don't know that we've had it on before. Yeah.
No, so you have to be right within yourself.
Oh, exactly. And I think that's right. I think that, we've sort of talked about, how horses can even help you find that.
Yes.
Yep.
Exactly, and that has something to do with the therapy that the PTSD people go through as well with horses.
Yes, for sure.
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Does your club do anything with the PTSD?
No. We're actually an adult riding club.
Yep. And
we're sort of similar to pony clubs, but for adults. So we do fun things.
All right. Now, tell us about how you got started to be a club president. Did you hold another role first, or how did that come about?
Well, no. Actually, a friend of mine and myself were galloping up a hill one day, and we had such a good time. We said, pony club kids have really good time. Why don't we start an adult riding club?
Oh, okay.
Do the same sorts of things.
Yep.
Because a lot of people want to ride not at a high level, and they don't want to specialise. So it's a venue for people to come that are in that situation. So we set it up, we incorporated it, and it's been running since 1997.
And I think just as the areas within horses and horse work, and there's quite a few different areas there of working with horses, which we've sort of focused on within the podcast, within Horse Chats, there's so many different ways we can enjoy horses. We don't have to go to any of the classical disciplines, any of the competition disciplines. We can just enjoy riding, enjoy our horses' company, enjoy doing things with them.
Absolutely. And, you gain confidence from doing things with other people.
Yep.
It's a social atmosphere as well.
Yep. Did you become president straight up? Were you always president? Is it something that you did?
Well, it's funny because the other lady actually was the president first up. So she was president for 2 years, and then we've had a succession. I think I was president for a couple of years. We've had a succession of presidents, and I'm back to the role again after all this time. So, yes, this is my third year in the presidency this time. So.
Okay. What do you think makes a good president? Not just a good president, because the president works in a team. You know, there's the secretary, there's the treasurer, there's all the other committee members. And then even from there, there's other members that might come along and help at working bees and help at different things there. What makes this? Because it's a volunteer position, isn't it? You know, so you're giving up a lot of time and effort yourself and often finances to take on this position. What sort of person holds a position within a club?
Well, you need to be passionate about the club. You need to be passionate about what the activities are at the club. But to be a president, I think you need to be able to bring the members together and to keep them going as a team. So you don't necessarily have to be dominant, but you have to just be there, you know, for people to come to.
Okay. And to have a club, what do you think holds the club together? Does the president hold it together? Does the members hold it together? Is the team? Because a lot of clubs come and get formed and then drift and then fold. Yep.
Yeah, I think the common interest for a start, and I think the people are similar who are in the club. We've got a lot of women aged in, from 30 up to, well, I'm nearly 70. So, it's that sort of age group that seems to gravitate to our club.
Mm-hmm. And is it mainly females in your club?
Yes, we don't have a lot of men. We've got about 3 or 4.
Okay.
And they enjoy it when they come.
Yep. And how many members do you have?
We've got about 50 to 60 members.
Okay.
Yeah. So at each club day, we'd probably have around 30 people come each time. So that's a reasonable amount when you divide them into groups, into lessons and so.
What do you think are the main strengths of your club?
I think that we're a very supportive and friendly club. I don't think we're judgmental. We don't focus on discipline so much as enjoyment of what we're doing. And I think people really enjoy coming to the days. Okay.
Now, what sort of horses? For people that are interested. So I'm sort of looking at it from someone who might have horses in their area. They might be saying, I'm a little bit over these competitions. I don't want to compete anymore, but I enjoy spending time with my horse. I enjoy going out for rides with friends. If they're thinking about forming a club, what sort of horses, just tell us a little bit more about getting a group together and forming a club. I know it was a little while ago, but, just think about that.
Sure. It depends on the president a lot. Some presidents like to do more gymkhana type things because they like showing.
Yep.
Some, are into more trail riding type things. But at the moment, we actually have a mix of dressage, show jumping and cross-country or obstacles, in our case. We're not really high-level cross-country people. But, depending on the president, those sort of are the activities that you do. And we have a cross-section. In other words, people will be in lessons for each discipline on the same day.
Yep.
So they don't just focus on one unless they don't want to go on the others. But, so we spread it around and it's at a low level. So most people can cope quite well. And we get coaches who are really experienced. They can cope with, a reasonably large group of people and they know what they're doing. And I think that's the secret to running good club days. You need people who are very experienced in their disciplines.
Yep. And the coaches that you'd get, they'd have to be patient too because, coaches, you can get a very good coach who's very self-disciplined, who requires very high standards. But then you might get some members of the club saying, look, I'm just here just to support the club and because it's a day out with my friends. How do the coaches cope with that?
Well, it's interesting, because the coaches we get coach at all different levels. They coach from, high level down, but they're so good because they can read the abilities of the people. So they cater the lessons to the people, and they don't tend to sort of put people down or judge people. They just tend to try and, build them up and support them. And it's great. It works really well. And people really enjoy it when it's like that.
Good. So it sounds like you've selected coaches that are particularly good for working within that club atmosphere, within, as you said, a wide range of people.
Yeah, that's right. And a lot of the coaches compete themselves at a high level. We've got one barrel racing lady who's in the national championships and has won it from time to time, things like that. So they're great. They really come to the party. They're good.
Okay. So if someone came in, because you didn't say barrel racing, but they said, look, I'm really keen on barrel racing, let's have a barrel race. What's the process then to go through and have a barrel race competition at the club?
Okay, so you would see the level of the people that are coming, to the activity. Or did you mean a competition or just a training day?
Say if they said, look, I'm not really into the dressage and I don't like jumping and the obstacles are okay, but I'd really like to have a barrel race competition. What happens there? Does it have to go through the club committee? Are you able to do it? What process do you use?
Well, we discuss it at the committee level and decide whether we want to or not. And then we get the coach to come along, and she will gauge the level of the riders, and she will do activities that build up to barrel up racing or do it, at a slow pace or whatever.
Okay.
So whatever the people who are coming can cope with, she will do.
Yep. What about the horses? Is there a wide range of horses as well as a wide range of people? I mean, if someone has got a horse that they might think, I don't know that my horse is really up to scratch to come to club. What would you say?
We have all comers.
Okay.
We have some that are trail riding queens or whatever.
Yep.
We have some that are in the show jumping club, and we have some that show their horses a lot. So they all, actually our organising lady is great because she can put people in classes according to their abilities, which is really important because you don't want a class with people that are so different that one's bored or the other's scared or whatever. So she's actually very good at placing people in classes with the same level of other people. Okay. But the horses are so different, we have thoroughbred stock horses, almost to the riding school stage and almost up to national sort of type stage. So all sorts.
So it sounds to me like if someone thought their horse wasn't quite up to the job, you'd be pretty welcoming anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And even if they want to come with their horse and not do anything, just bring the horse to have a look or, lead it around or whatever, I would much prefer that than, sort of doing something that they don't feel capable of doing.
Yep. Margaret, what other jobs? You've talked about sort of organising events. What other jobs are included then within your role as a riding club president?
We have a committee meeting once a month. We are affiliated with the Vikings. It's a sporting club in Canberra, and they sponsor us to the tune of about $2,000 a year in grants. So I apply for those grants. We set up and run open events 3 or so times a year, so you need to be there the day before to set up. You need to be there at the crack of dawn to, open up, and you need to be there at the end to close up. So those weekends and those days are quite busy, you might say. And the club days, we actually start usually about 9 o'clock, but we finish at lunchtime because we've found that people quite enjoy going till about 1:30, then having lunch and then packing up and going home rather than sort of getting back on the horse because we're not kids anymore. And I think, and it promotes people relaxing and chatting at lunchtime too. So
yes, okay.
So I'm on deck at those sorts of things, and in the meantime, got to keep your eye on all sorts of like affiliations and insurance, when that's due, just various things like that. We're an incorporated club, so we have to have an AGM and we have to have our books audited, things like that. Just keeping tabs on what is needed at what time of the year is really important.
Okay. Now, for people in other clubs, or clubs that have not as active, say, as you are, and people are thinking, well, no one's very active. Is the club going to fold? What would you say to them to help increase the activity within the club, increase the members, but it's not just increasing the members, increasing the activity and what's going, the energy in the club?
Yes,
what would you say?
Well, it all boils down to what you're running the club for. I mean, it depends on the activities that you run and that people want to come to. And it does depend on the atmosphere at the club. It has to be a welcoming atmosphere for people to want to come. So, and also, if you have good coaches, if you have activities that are fun, people enjoy themselves, you get more members, so therefore you've got a bigger pool to draw from to run the club. But the danger for a lot of clubs is that people aren't volunteering so much these days, and therefore the committees are struggling to, hang on to committee members who will all do their thing. And I think that's the problem for clubs at the moment. People don't seem to have the time to commit to things. I don't know why.
Yeah.
You'd think they'd have more time these days, but yeah.
If you're an equestrian coach or a horse riding instructor, or even if you aspire to be one, have a look at the free video series for horse riding instructors on the Horse Chats website. Go there now, have a look, horsechats.com. What do you do then within your club to actively encourage volunteers?
That's an ongoing discussion. At the AGM, we try to encourage lots of people to come, which doesn't always happen. But generally speaking, the people that are there enjoy each other's company. We actually have dinner at our meetings or before our monthly meetings, and that seems to draw a few people as well.
Okay.
But you've got to make it fun, and you've got to make it something that they want to come to, and not a job that they have to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somehow you've got to make it attractive for people to come.
Well, it sounds quite social too, having the dinner at the same time as the meetings, and then, having riding, and then the lunch and just sort of hanging around and talking horses, I suppose, because sometimes that's what people want to do. They just want to hang around and talk horses for a few hours. And especially I think people who may not be able to ride, to sit in the saddle for as long. They're happy going out for the day if they have that little bit of activity in the morning and then just talking horses for a few hours. And sometimes it's the actual sitting down and socialising that could be the big part of the day, almost.
Yes, and they might learn something. And yes, exactly right.
Do you get people that are social members that come in just for the day without their horse, without riding?
Not too many.
Okay.
We've got a couple on our committee that don't actually ride, but they want to keep being involved.
Okay.
But most people who come ride, but I'm getting to the stage myself now where I'm not sure what I want to sit on a horse for 3 hours either.
I was going to say, what are you looking forward to? When I ask that question, a lot of people say, well, I've got this new young horse that I'm about to start and compete, and I've got this one going there and this one going there. And so what are you looking forward to? And what are you personally looking forward to do with horses and the club? And what's the club moving on to now? What have you got planned for next year?
Well, personally, I have a lesson once a week with a dressage coach so that she will push me to say, to do more riding, because I never do enough for her, of course.
Yeah.
But unless you keep doing it, you just lose it.
Yes.
So you've got to keep pushing yourself. And I mean, I enjoy it, don't get me wrong. I enjoy riding. Unfortunately, my horse is more an arena horse these days than a horse that I take out, trail riding, because of, I suppose, as you get older, it gets harder if you're on your own, especially. Can you just repeat the last part of the question again?
Yeah, it was, what's the club looking forward to? What have you got organised for next year?
Oh, well, we our usual activities and monthly activities on the third Sunday, the training days. And then we intersperse those with things like a gymkhana, dressage and jumping day. And we have one called a Total Wimps one-day event, which is great because it's low-level everything, and people who don't feel like they can do anything go in it, like not me. I'm not really a jumping person, put it that way. And we do have clinics. People would love to have a camp, but it's really hard to find a place that people are happy to float their horses to and that is safe for people to ride at. So we have ongoing discussions about that. We once had a little camp drafting clinic, at a local camp drafters place.
Yep.
Sometimes we have different things if people are willing to organise them, but generally speaking, it's the, showing, dressage, jumping, cross-country, that sort of thing, mostly.
Okay,
Yeah.
Good.
We did have something called Trek, which is orienteering on horseback. I think that's an English thing.
Okay.
Have you heard of Trek?
Trekking, yes.
They do a time drive and they do a trail ride where they've got to pick up things.
I was going to say find certain things. Yeah,
that's it, yes.
Yeah. Was that because someone in the club was interested in that? How did you come about doing that?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So when different people join the club or are on the committee, they want different things.
So really it's the energy in to get the energy out. If people would like the club to go in a certain direction, they put the energy in so that then the club can, do those particular activities.
Absolutely. You've got to have people with a bit of drive, to organise things.
Yep. All right. Now, Margaret, before we go, if someone's thinking about opening up a club, starting a especially an adult riding club, what would your advice be to them?
Well, I suppose you'd advertise a meeting, of anybody who was interested in starting up a club.
Yep.
And from that meeting, you could maybe get a committee. And from that committee, you could maybe get the club incorporated because then, you can get insurance and whatever else.
Sure.
And then you can advertise an activity day. You also have to get grounds that are suitable, and that's not that easy to do, but that's the important thing.
Okay.
We started out at one pony club, and then that pony club folded, and we're now at a second pony club. So hopefully that will keep going.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And then, Margaret, how can people contact you? They can go to your page at Horse Chats, which will be horsechats.com/Margaret Heaney. Or, Margaret, otherwise, how can they contact you?
Tagranong Adult Riding Club is on Facebook.
Yep. And just spell Tagranong.
Tuggeranong. Tagranong.
Okay.
Adult Riding Club.
No worries at all.
And we have a website as well.
Okay. What's the website called?
Oh, dear. I knew you'd ask me that. Yes, I think it's something like tagranongarc.org.au, something like that. But, yes, I should have had that to hand, shouldn't
That's okay. We'll find it anyway, Margaret, and that'll be on your page at horsechats.com/Margaret Heaney, or go to horsechats.com, search for Margaret or search for Heaney, and you'll find that. And, probably even if you search, because it's like keyword adult riding, you'd probably find it as well.
Oh, it'll be there. Yes, I'm sure it will be.
Yeah, for sure.
That's true.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Margaret, thank you again for coming today. I think your conversation could apply to a lot of riding clubs, and hopefully the energy, clubs that are maybe lacking a bit of energy and lacking ideas can get some ideas from your information that you've given to us today.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you for interviewing me. It's
no
been
worries.
Very, very good.
Good. All right, Margaret, hopefully we'll talk to you again sometime soon. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks very much. Bye-bye, Glenys.
If you've enjoyed this chat, then please comment, rate and subscribe. If you'd like any changes or recommendations for guests, then please contact us through horsechats.com. And while you're online, have a look at the government-accredited courses at internationalhorsecollege.com. Registered Training Organisation 31352.
Remember that our comments and instructions are general in nature and do not take into consideration your individual horses or your individual ability and circumstances. If you enjoyed this podcast, then please leave your comment below.